Hi there Tim, hope that you're well. Right, first of all, golf swing setup angles are actually really very good. Right hip's nice and low down, it's pretty lined up there. I mean, it could be a fraction lower down to be perfectly lined up, but this is a great effort. I just think if you maybe just lowered this a tiny little bit right here, we then have this spine even better in terms of alignment. So it's just a hair off right here. Just kick that down a fraction more, be beautifully lined up and absolutely perfect. From down the line, again, great setup angle, really does look the business. Now, what we tend to find is you make a good first move right here. Then as you set the golf club, you start to open the blade a bit more than you want to, rather than keeping it nice and square. Simple way to cure this is going to be just working maybe with a swing guide a little bit. But actually I feel the set's very good. I'm picking hairs here a little bit. Okay, but the main issues start to appear to themselves after you've set the club so well right here, as you over rotate the right shoulder back towards the target. You don't stretch the upper body away from the target, so the top of the back start to get back towards the target. As we see this occurring from this rear view here, the top of the back starts to go back towards the target, because here is the turning point right here. We'll watch as you take the club back, how you've actually gone towards the target with the top of the back. This then means the right hip ends up working upwards, so we get angles in the right hip right here, sorry, and the elbow ends up behind the hip at the top of the golf swing. This means there's a bit of trouble for you then starting down, because you're going to be very cramped. It means you have to back up out of it and get very narrow through the golf ball right here. Now, what we see is, in terms of the narrowness, when we have a look at it from the front view, the upper body goes towards the target, head then gets forwards. You can see it against the tree in the background, the head goes forwards here. Now we see the head goes up and back, so you get very narrow, trying to save some room through the golf ball. It then means that your head and upper body chase forwards, while the hips end up a long way back to the finish. When we have a look at this from down the line right here, we see that the effect that the upper body move has is that it drags the club across the line. From here, you have to then steepen the golf shaft as your head moves forwards, then you back out of it with your upper body to create some room, and then have a little bit of chase later on. You're not able to tie your arms, your body and the club together as a unit. Now, the difference that you'll see right here is when I split screen you next to Griff from the rear view, you're going to see how his hip stays quite level, but we'll see how yours works quite high. So from the rear view right here, we're going to notice how his hips are a little bit lower down. Okay, so his upper body's tilted a little bit more away from the target, which will aid the left shoulder stretching across. But you'll notice how your top of your back, which is your turning point between the shoulder blades right here, how this moves towards the target, and you'll see how Griff's from his turning point right here, how he stays on that turning point, yet he stretches behind it, so he stays on it. You see how the top of the shoulder here is still on it, so it means if I had something dropping down from the ceiling on that turning point, it'd still be on it. You've definitely moved in this direction, so your hips have gone upwards, his right hip's turned backwards this way, which is giving him space with his arms in front of his body, and the arm is in front of the hip. Yours is getting behind the hip. Now, what we see is from the front view right here, which we're just bringing in now, compare that to Mike Bedford right here. You're going to see with the difference with yourself and Mike as you get towards the top of the backswing, how your upper back goes towards the target, so it looks like your right shoulder is over rotating, as you see Mike's upper body stretches away from the target, and the right shoulder never goes back towards the target. So this means that his upper body is stretching in this direction, so he's got some stretch in his lat right here, and his upper body is angled away from the target. What you'll notice from down the line is that when Mike turns his upper body away, he then sets the golf club and rotates the arm. Because the upper body is moving in the correct manner, the golf club can be laid off. Because your upper body is going towards the target, your shaft ends up across the line. This then leads to your head having to get forward and you're backing out of it, losing the touch line and working on your toes. Mike's able to just rotate towards the target, letting the centre point of the body, well, letting the left side of the body move away from the centre point of the body, being the chin. So you can see with yourself here, head moves towards the target, gets forward and then goes back. You'll see here with Mike from the front view how he's able to stretch the upper body back, head stays nice and still, and the left side breaks away from the centre point of the body,